Good afternoon, everyone in Facebook land. Welcome to this month's Facebook Live event. Today, I'm really happy to be with all of you all and to celebrate Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. We have a couple of really exciting folks joining the conversation today that I'm super excited for you all to hear about. But first, I want to introduce my partner in crime for the day, the amazing Executive Vice President of SEIU 2015, Arnulfo de la Cruz. Say hi to the people, Nuf.
Hey, April, thanks so much. And that's right. I feel like this conversation today is such an important one, especially given everything that's happening across the country in our current climate. And I know that we're just really excited to lend today's Facebook Live to key voices who have chosen to speak out on some really, really important issues. So glad to be joining with you and others. Glad to be on.
Thank you, Nuf. And of course, today is a really important, not just a day, not just a month, to talk about the contributions and influences that our Asian Pacific and Pacific Islander brothers and sisters have had on our shared history and culture. But we know in this moment where we are saying loud and clear, Black Lives Matter, we are also saying stop Asian hate. We are also saying, immigrants belong in our country. And it's important that as we reflect on the contributions that all of us have made to our country, we note the fact that almost 4,000 incidents of anti-Asian hate and violence have been reported in our communities over the last year. And though these attacks, both physical and verbal, aren't new, in this moment, we have to stand up and we have to demand an end to this kind of hate and this kind of violence. And as a Black woman, I am committing myself to stand up for Asian lives, to say that Asian lives matter, as Black lives matter, as Latino lives matter. And until we are all able to really embrace and honor the humanity in each and every one of us, none of us will be free. And so I'm happy to celebrate Asian American Heritage Month with you, Arnulfo, and with Alexandra Suh and Posum Poon, who we're going to bring forward in just a moment. So again, we're taking a moment to reflect on how our communities have endured the layers of oppression and disparities of racism, but also how we can collectively bring awareness to the issues so that we can join ourselves together to fight to stop them, to build a movement of people who are committed to stand together, to embrace our differences, and to be in solidarity and in unity with one another. And we know that AAPI people have made a tremendous contribution to the history of this country. And today we also honor that legacy. And to help us celebrate AAPI Heritage Month, it's my pleasure to invite community leader from here in Los Angeles. She is the executive director of the Korean Immigrant Worker Alliance, also known as KIWA, Alexandra Suh. Thanks, Alexandra, for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, President Verrett. It's such a pleasure to be here. My name is Alexandra. I'm executive director of KIWA. And KIWA, I know SEIU 2015 fairly well, but you may not know KIWA, everyone. And we're a multiracial worker center in Los Angeles, organizing primarily in the restaurant and retail industries. Most of our members are Latinx and Korean, reflecting the population in the Koreatown area, although we have members of every, well, I don't want to say every, but most races and ethnicities. We also advocate for solutions to our housing crisis and for immigrant justice, and we're part of the statewide California Coalition for Worker Power. Regarding the thousands of acts of anti-Asian violence that President Verrett has just lifted up, it is important to draw attention to these acts, and hashtag Stop Asian Hate is helping to do that. I do want to say, though, that the notion of hate has to be placed in a historical context. And I mean, hate sounds like it's just like this feeling, it's this irrational feeling, like you don't gotta hate, but hate and violence have stalked Asian communities throughout the centuries of our history in the US. And this history is distinct from, but integrally tied to the unrelenting physical and structural violence and white supremacy deployed against Black, Indigenous, Latinx, and other people of color communities. And President Verrett's comments suggested that as well, the connection between what is happening to all our communities. And, people often point out that it's inaccurate to blame, say, another country for the coronavirus or another race for the economic conditions that people are facing here in this country. But beyond inaccuracy, we need to focus on the ideological work that these false narratives do. They drive the attention away from the actual causes and agents of the inequity, the racism, the suffering, the poverty that all our communities face under racial capitalism, those politicians and those systems that we need to transform. And just like SEIU 2015, Kiwa's response to these conditions is and always has been to come together across racial lines and to organize. Every day, even during the pandemic, we are out talking to restaurant workers, grocery workers, retail workers, and others about their rights and the power that workers have when we come together. And we're passing laws that help to expand the labor movement. And it's because we firmly believe that hate, it's not about telling people that, oh, it's not true, Asians aren't really like that, or Black people aren't really like that. It's about building power as workers and as Angelenos. And that is how we are going to change the material conditions and the false narratives that keep our peoples apart. So this month, like every month, we're going to fight hard to pass policies like 2015's Priority Care Home Staffing Bill, and that supports care home workers. We also have a number of other bills that we're supporting. If you go to californiaworkerpower.org, and that's our coalition that SEIU is also part of. And if you work or live in or near K-Town, come visit us at Kiwa. And there's just so much that we need to do. And it can be really paralyzing to think about those acts of violence, but the solution is always to organize. So thank you for having me here. It's really an honor to join you.
Thank you so much, Alexandra, for being able to join us. And the work that Kiwa does is so critical. The work that you continue to do is so important. And to all of our community partners, Kiwa is a wonderful example of building cross-racial solidarity. And I really appreciate you, Alexandra, pointing out that worker power is really central to a lot of our ability to be able to continue to organize. And we as a union movement stand in solidarity with Kiwa. We stand in solidarity with the AAPI community, and we commend the critical work that community leaders like Alexandra and Kiwa are also doing to lead us and helping us to stop Asian hate, while also building political and organizational power within the AAPI community. And SEIU 2015, we're proud to represent such a diverse workforce. In our meetings, we're conducting union business in 8 different languages, right? And many of our members, which are of Asian and Pacific Islander descent, the AAPI community is the backbone of this country. They're the reason why our elderly and most vulnerable are also still able to flourish, not just in California, but across the world. And many of our members, as we know, do this work quietly. They're also having to manage their personal lives as a caregiver, which also oftentimes are rife with many other challenges that many of us take for granted. And through all of this, our members continue to shine, to exude strength and resilience, especially at a time when hate crimes are on the rise. But we are absolutely insistent and adamant that we are going to find solutions, we are going to build bridges, and we're also going to build cross-racial solidarity. I'd like to now introduce one of our amazing leaders from San Francisco who has been doing this work for decades, one of our regional vice presidents of our union, Po Soon Poon, who's going to share a little bit about what he's witnessed from our members working on the ground every day as an incredible caregiver and also an incredible union leader. Po Soon, welcome.
好，你好，阿陸福你好。
Thank you, Arnulfo.
係，我係嚟自三藩市嘅 IHS 嘅家護工人。
I'm the IHSS worker from San Francisco.
係，亦係我哋第5區嘅副主席。
And also the vice president of the region number 5.
係，好多謝剛才發言嘅我哋亞太裔嘅會員同埋阿 Alnulfo 將
Thank you.
不為人知嘅故事浮出水面，呢個係非常重要嘅，因為我哋許多人都會默默咁經受住呢啲暴行，但係好多謝阿 April 同阿諾福咁樣嘅領導一直係支持我哋，多謝。
Thank you, Arnulfo, and our distinguished member from the Korean community. It is so important that we bring these untold stories to the surface. Without the empowerment and support that leaders like April and Arnulfo have extended to us, many of us weather these atrocities in silence.
我哋長期護理行業裏邊嘅種族主義嘅歷史原因，抵到我哋當今勞動力嘅價值被嚴重個低估。
The history of racist origins within our long-term care industry is directly connected to how severely undervalued this workforce is today.
所以造成呢啲工人面臨着難以維持嘅工資，許多人無法為家人提供食物同埋支持房租，好多人仍然無法輕易獲得基本嘅醫療福利。具有諷刺意味嘅係，佢哋仍然每日咁樣冒險出行，照顧嗰啲自身有健康風險嘅患者，呢啲佢哋係英雄，但係佢哋得唔到英雄嘅待遇。
These workers face unlivable wages, leaving many unable to provide food for their families or pay their rent. Many are still unable to easily access basic healthcare benefits. Ironically, as they have and continue to show up to care for patients at the risk of their own health, they are heroes, yet they are not paid as heroes.
我可以舉一個例子。
I can give you an example.
我哋喺三藩市喺5月9號，就有一個家護嘅女嘅工人喺乘坐巴士嘅上班途中，就俾人喺車上無辜揮拳打到佢面部、口唇損傷流血，但係喺車上都冇人援助，嗰個施暴者就逃走咗啦，到現在都未捉到。咁我呢種情況對我哋嘅家護工人係一種非常大嘅威脅，對我哋亞裔嘅人員嚟講，又係一個非常嘅壞嘅影響。
Let me share an example that happened on May 9th of this year. One of our IHSS workers in San Francisco rode the bus. In the bus, she was attacked, punched in the face. Her lip broke open and she was bleeding. Yet no one rendered help in the bus. The assailant got scot-free, and he or she is not apprehended as of today. This is a big threat to our workers. This is a big threat to our Asian community. These things have very bad influence.
我作為三藩市嘅家護嘅一個領袖，我喺屋企成日收到一啲老人院嘅一啲工人，我哋嘅家護工人嘅電話，佢哋話佢哋去照顧一啲老人，後來發現呢啲老人呢係感染咗呢 呢個COVID-19 嘅病毒，嚇到佢乜嘢咁樣。
As a leader in San Francisco, I often got calls from our members. Recently, I got call from members saying that they were helping out in nursing home or in private residence. Yet later on, they found out that the client has already contracted COVID-19. They were so scared. They went home right away. They took a shower and they refused to even share a meal with their family for 1 whole week.
佢哋馬上返屋企度全身沖洗，跟住同家人分食分住咗1個星期，發覺自己冇乜嘢啦，先至放心。
So after that, they took the shower, they separate, having a meal with the family, and up to the week. Now, finally, they are more at ease. They have not contracted COVID. They are more at ease later on.
係，佢哋好抱怨，佢話我哋嘅人工係非常之低嘅，我哋嘅保護係唔足夠嘅，所以佢話我哋嘅工作係唔應咁樣嘅工作係唔應該得到咁低嘅人工嘅。
So they complain that the wages are way, way low, and the protection is not enough. Therefore, there should not be suffering from these low wages.
所以作為我哋好高興，我哋有一個反歧視嘅工會。我哋工會每天都喺度爭取捍衛工人嘅基本權益。我哋嘅州同埋聯邦嘅領導必須認識到呢啲工人對於佢哋嘅工作，對於我哋嘅國家係至關重要嘅。
And we as a union, we must fight every day to advocate for basic rights of our workers. It is vital that our state and federal leaders recognize these workers as essential as their work is for our nation.
而且必須要確保佢哋嘅工作得到重視同適當嘅資助。我哋必須要投資於護理。
We must ensure that their work, essential before this pandemic and essential long after, is valued and properly funded. We must invest in care.
我哋要為呢啲工人而進行鬥爭，係為顛覆現有嘅種族主義嘅結構性嘅進行嘅鬥爭。呢種咁樣嘅結構繼續困擾住我哋嘅經濟同埋我哋嘅護理行業。
Our fight to advocate for these workers is a fight to upend the racist structures in place that continue to riddle our caregiving economy.
我哋好高興有一個5月份係我哋嘅亞太嘅傳統月，我哋好高興有我哋嘅工會支持我哋亞太裔嘅工人進行反種族歧視嘅同埋爭取我哋嘅權益嘅鬥爭，所以多謝工會，多謝Arnulfo，多謝 April， 多謝。
I thank you, Arnulfo. I thank you, April. I thank you for the union for supporting us, the Asian community, especially in May when it is the Asian Heritage Month. So during this month, we must continue to fight for the Asian right and the Asian heritage.
Absolutely. And thank you, Mr. Poon. Thank you so much for your leadership and for your fearlessness and continuing to raise your voice to support not just the AAPI members in San Francisco, but members of 2015 all over the state of California. New.
Thank you, Posum. And you know, April, it's like 2015, I'm so proud of member leaders like Posum. If there's anyone who can show, I feel like the rest of the country, how you celebrate people's unique differences and really respect it, but also come together and fight to build power and make sure that our communities and families are safe, it is 2015. And it's just another beautiful testimony and example that there's nothing that we can't accomplish when we come together. And I see a lot of sisters and brothers who have joined us in the chat. I see a lot of hello Aprils. Riley, Miss Carmen Jones, Melissa, Suzanne, Rachel Lewis, Carmen Jones, saying hello, checking in, appreciating our community partners, saying hi to April and Posum. We're really happy that you all can join. And, you know, I think what's clear is that, look, what we've heard today as we celebrate and recognize this month as AAPI Heritage Month, the AAPI community remains extremely vulnerable to discrimination and violence, both, as Posum said, both on and off the job. And we as a union, we believe strongly that a harm to one of us in one of our communities is a harm to all of us. And we know that 2015. So we're calling on our fellow leaders, community leaders, and electeds to stand with us in stopping Asian hate. But we also have to provide the tools and the resources that allow for an open, constructive dialogue, as April mentioned, about these issues that often go unacknowledged. So we got to continue to build safe spaces for our community and for our people to report hate incidents without fear of retribution. And I also just wanted to share a really terrific resource in our community. It's called stopaapihate.org. Again, that's stopaapihate.org. Hopefully we can include that in the chat. If you visit that website, you can encourage those who maybe they've experienced or witnessed acts of hate towards the AAPI community. They're able to actually report an incident through that website. I'm also happy to let you know that the reporting form is available in 11 different languages. And I know that we love that in SEIU 2015. Language justice is very important. So, and they're adding more resources as we speak. You can find and share safety tips with your friends and family on what to do if you're encountering or witnessing a hate act. It's available in multiple languages, and also stay informed about what's happening. So again, thank you for taking your time to join us this afternoon. Let's continue to build bridges together, family of the union. Our movement is going to always move forward. Take good care, and see everyone soon.
See everybody soon. Don't forget, put care first, because care is essential. Hey, everybody. Love you. See you all soon. Bye.